Extruding along a path. Profiles can be extruded along a path to create solids of varying forms. First, I extruded the red profile on the right. After extrude was entered, I selected P to indicate I want to extrude along that path and picked anywhere on the red polyline. Notice that the profile was extruded along the path. I entered the extrude command again, picked the green circle, typed P and picked the green extrusion path. The path used here was a spline curve. Finally, I pressed the space bar to restart the extrude command, picked the blue ellipse and its path and pressed enter. You will note that an extrusion path can be at any distance from the profile to be extruded. Tutorial 18 demonstrates a practical application for extruding along a path. The example shows how to create a handle for a coffee cup by extruding an ellipse along a polyline. It's a good idea to create the extrusion some distance away from the object. Upon completing an extrusion, it can be moved to its proper location later, as shown. Occasionally, I ask students to plot in model space because there's a lot to learn about AutoCAD when doing so. The largest drawing being shown is the assembly drawing. It is shown in the upper left corner and should be plotted at 1/2 scale in order to fit properly on a B-size paper, that is 11 by 17. The standard B-size format is 11 by 17. And if the format is inserted at full size 1:1, the drawing would appear to be too large to fit on the format, as is shown. As a consequence, the B-size format has to be inserted at twice its size in order for the drawing to fit properly. It is necessary to scale the format to double its size. Now the drawing can be properly plotted. On the other hand, if the Geneva drive wheel that I'm showing now is to be plotted at full scale or 1:1 and a B-size format is inserted, the drawing is not too large but fits properly. Here there is no need to scale the format. If, however, we want all the drawings to be on B-size paper, that is 11 by 17, and many companies do, and the same format is inserted for the cam bushing, then obviously the drawing is too small for 11 by 17 or that size of paper. It then becomes necessary to scale down the format to 1/4 of its size so that when the drawing is plotted at a scale of 1:4, the drawing will appear correctly. As it is now shown. Regardless of the scale of a printed drawing, when drawings are printed in either model or paper space, they have to be consistent. All companies want dimension text and text height to be standard sizes. Out of necessity, there has to be changes to the variables of dim scale and LT scale, I call it light scale. Remember that dim scale sets the overall scale factor applied to dimensioning variables that specify sizes, distances, or offsets, and light scale is used to change the scale factor of line types for all objects in a drawing. Finally, when a drawing has to be plotted at 1/2 scale, it would require a dim scale of 2, whereas a drawing to be plotted at full scale, 1:1, only requires a dim scale of 1, which is the default. However, plotting at 1/4 scale would require a dim scale of 4, and so on. Even though drawing and printing in model space is good, printing in paper space is better. When you begin designing a layout in paper space to plot, you go through the following procedures. You create a model drawing, configure a plotting device. You activate or create a layout and specify layout page settings such as plotting device, paper size, etc. You insert a title block, create floating viewports, and position them in the layout. You set the view scale of the floating viewports and finally plot the layout. That's a lot of work, but the result is worth it. Paper space is a representation of an actual sheet of paper, and floating viewports are windows that frame views of a drawing. In this floor plan, I switched the layout. I want to get into paper space, and I want to create two viewports before printing the drawing. By using grips, I made the existing viewport smaller. I've drawn a circle in the upper left corner. By clicking View Viewports Object, a circular viewport is created. Now I double-click inside the viewport to get back into model space. Then I can pan and set a new scale for the circular viewport so as to enlarge a particular view. Also, I use the MView command to create a rectangular viewport for an enlarged view of a different part of the floor plan. Note that up to 15 viewports can be created on one layout if desired. Boolean operation.